everybody. Welcome back to another Small Business Sunday Spotlight. We are talking to Ben Mullet today with OGF Construction. He's going to tell us a little bit about what he does, what his family does, the history behind his company, and some cool stuff. So, Ben, kind of tell us where to start. Where did you start?
Yeah, looking forward to it. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, thanks for being a part of it.
Really enjoy visiting about this stuff.
Yeah.
We actually got our start in the early 90s near Adrian, Missouri. And my folks started a little agricultural fence building business. And we did that for about 10 years. And then I went to school for building trades and kind of moved more into the building industry. Roofing was the primary industry for the last 15 years. And then we kind of gradually grew into more full builds, shops, garages, barns, and now we do full houses. We've been doing some log cabins. We're moving into the commercial roofing space with roof coatings.
Nice. So commercial buildings is what you'll kind of get into there?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Okay, so you're talking like huge warehouses or kind of more stores?
Yeah, primarily any industry or any building that would benefit from a roof restoration rather than a complete re-roof. Obviously, a re-roof opens the building envelope up. You have insurance liability, operational risks. Obviously, there's weather potential for weather damage in that sort of a scenario. And we can go in and for roughly half the cost of a re-roof, we can coat the building. And we use Conklin roof coating products, which they were the first in the industry, first to market with the roof coatings. And they've got, probably 70 years of track record now.
Interesting.
And, very, very good, durable product. And
yeah, I've never heard of that one.
Yeah.
So it's something different from having to put on a new roof?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so in one sense, you could kind of think of it as like painting your roof, only it's an acrylic and it's thick. We're talking like 25, 30 mils thick. And it's hail rated. In fact, we use little demo boards to illustrate to our customers how tough they are, and they can take a ball peen hammer and just go to whaling on this little demo board and see all the dents that don't crack the acrylic finish at all. So yeah, it's a very durable product, and that's one of the branches we're really developing this summer.
So something on that, is that something that you would recommend to people with newer roofs, older roofs? What's the oldest you would put something like that on? Yeah,
so you do want to catch the roof in kind of that sweet spot. You don't want it to be failing. You know, if it's rusted through, it's not a good candidate. What's perfect is that metal roof or asphalt, primarily flat roof type structures, commercial structures that are past the point, they're to the point where something's going to have to be done soon, but they're not in catastrophic failure yet. We can go in, we can do some repairs, and then do a full coating, give them a 10-year non-prorated warranty. And at the end of that, we can go back in, literally just power wash it off, top coat it again, re-up the warranty, and there's buildings that are 40, 50 years old that have those systems on, and you can just extend the life of your roof indefinitely with that system.
Is that something that would be or is available for residential?
Residential, it would work if it was a low slope roof.
Not many of those.
Probably in the barn dominium world, that will become a thing. Since that's getting big here in the last 10 to 15 years.
Absolutely.
And another 10 to 15 probably is when those roofs will be either needing to be replaced or coated. And so it will probably become a big thing in the residential market there. But it hasn't yet.
Yeah, I got you.
So,
the roof structure kind of makes that a little harder because a lot of homes are like this.
A little bit steeper.
I got you. Okay. So this is a family business. What made you realize that you wanted to get into the family business instead of venturing off on your own? Or was it just you grew up and you knew it was going to come down to you? There was really nothing else that you ever saw yourself doing?
So mostly it just fit well.
Yeah.
For me personally, it just fit well. That was an established business. We had an established reputation. And of course, anybody in small business for any length of time understands how important a good reputation is.
Absolutely. You fight hard for that.
Yeah,
you work
absolutely.
a long time for one.
Yeah, you can work hard and you can lose it very, very fast.
Oh, yes. Takes no time to lose the reputation.
Right.
That's for sure.
So, yeah, it was a perfect platform to continue to just develop what we were doing from, kind of transitioning from one thing to another. And our company still does a little bit of fence building, but it's nowhere near the primary.
Roofing, you would say,
industry.
is the ultimate primary?
Actually, anymore, that's been the primary for the last handful of years. But now we've kind of moved to where the log homes in particular, log home timber frame homes is kind of our primary.
Where do you do a lot of those at? Is that more down south?
No, we're working on one up north of Oak Grove right now.
Oh.
For the director of the engineering department for UCM.
Oh, super cool.
Who we're building for. Yeah, and
nice.
We're building another kind of a hybrid, so it's a timber frame roof structure, but conventionally framed walls. We're doing that one over just east of Clinton.
Oh, okay. So you kind of go out a pretty far distance.
Yeah, and we did another one just, that one I suggested maybe we look at.
Yeah.
Drexel?
Drexel,
yeah. And we just finished that one about this time, or a little earlier in the spring last year. So it's a pretty new build, but yeah, it's really fun. It's a very niche market. There's not a lot of contractors in that space. They don't really know how to handle it. And it's certainly been a learning process for us, but it's really fun. Yeah. And we've been able to bring a couple of people on board that really knew that side of the business well. And so that's been a huge advantage. Oh, I bet. Bringing in knowledge. And that's something I think a lot of companies might not like to do, is bring in new people, especially family owned. Right. But it takes one hell of a business to understand that you don't know everything. And sometimes people with the perfect knowledge come in and they really help, and they turn into family. Oh, absolutely. So, side thing on that, in my personal opinion, is they turn into family. Yeah. Oh, that's so when you say family owned, it's pretty family. Yeah. Yeah. So a major challenge, I know this is probably a fun question. So yeah, I'd say a major challenge that you faced, how early on was it? How did you conquer it? What do you think maybe you could have done differently? Kind of touch on something that you can think of that's kind of hit you a little bit. Sure. Yeah. The biggest challenge that I think we've faced has not really been like a single point in time, but kind of a linear one as we've grown up into various businesses, just the getting the right people in the right places. And just like you were saying, like, bringing people in that are smarter than you essentially is what you really need to do. Yeah. And that can be a little bit tricky because it can be a little bit threatening to, not be the smartest person in the room. But, if it's my business, what are you talking about? Right. But again, if you are the smartest person in the room, then you're also the cap on what you can accomplish. That's true. And so, yeah, my goal in life has been to surround myself with people that are a lot smarter than me, and unfortunately, that's a lot easier than one might think. You're like, I have not had a hard time with that one. It's been pretty easy. That means you learned a lot, though. So you would say bringing in people that fit well. Yeah, that fit the company culture, have the skill set and the knowledge base that I don't have, has really been key. And we're working on that, especially on the administrative side. We've grown about 400% in the last 18 months. And so we're really trying to catch up, I would say, on the administrative side. And we've got a couple new hires that are coming on full time that have been part time over the last year that I think will really help with that. But quite frankly, I'm the bottleneck to it right now, and that needs to not be. I need to bring those people in that can expand our capacity and potential far beyond what my own capacity is. And that's probably something that really comes with expanding the business and your customer list and everything like that. Once you get bigger, you learn there's more that you need. Right. Yeah, more things you need to learn and touch on and everything. Yep. Okay. So we faced the biggest challenge. What would you say the easiest thing's been so far? And nothing's easy in the world of business. Sure. Nothing's easy, but what would you say kind of came natural to you? What did you not really struggle with? For me, the easiest thing is just to do it myself. But that doesn't, again, you're capped at your own capacity, capped at your own time. And so in a lot of ways, like, my preference is, well, I can just do it myself because I can do it faster, I can do it better, all those things. Yep. And so the easiest thing is just doing it myself, and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I enjoy the work. And so, part of the challenge is not just doing it myself, but actually bringing some of these younger guys on, train them how to do it, and kind of bear with them in the learning process and get them up to speed.
So now in the business owner aspect, now would you say kind of what we just talked about was running the business? Now what about owning a business? Because running and owning are a little different.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you're out there, you're doing the work. Like you said, it's easier to just do it yourself.
Yep.
What's something you've kind of learned or struggled or maybe come to terms with when it comes to running a business? Because a lot of people that watch this, they are either small business owners or they want to be or something.
Yeah.
So I always try to include a piece of knowledge they can gain from this.
Yeah, I guess my number one would be, don't be afraid to fail. Like, you will. If you're doing anything worthwhile, you will find points of failure. And a lot of people kind of get stuck in that analysis paralysis stage and don't do. And you really just need to get out there and do, and know that there are going to be times you fall, and just like riding a bike, you got to pick yourself up and keep going. And eventually it becomes easier, and you get better at it until it kind of becomes second nature.
And I think that's something I'd say most people who own their own business kind of say is don't be afraid to fail. And it sounds almost cliche, but it's because it's so real.
Oh, yeah.
Like you look at any successful business or business owner and they're going to tell you they failed multiple times.
Absolutely.
But the reason they're successful, like you said, is they don't stop.
Kept going. They learned from
Absolutely.
it. Yep.
If you stop where you fail, you're never going anywhere. You failed because you tried something.
That is the ultimate fail.
The ultimate fail is to stop after a failure.
Yep.
Absolutely. Okay, what's one piece of advice you wish you had starting out, whether it comes to running the business, maybe there's something your parents didn't tell you and you're like, thanks, Mom.
Right.
Or maybe putting on a roof, you're like, oh crap, I wish I did that differently. What's advice? What do you wish that you had?
Probably the biggest thing would be a focus on the customer as the key element in the whole equation. Like, it's so easy to get focused on the product or the service and forget that the whole thing hinges, the whole purpose is serving the customer. And that's the bottom line thing.
Absolutely. I think anybody that's in business, especially self-run business, every business everywhere in one aspect or another, you work with people.
Absolutely.
You have a customer. Right. No matter what business you're in, you either work for a customer.
Yep.
And so it is imperative to realize you work for them. It's your business. You're doing it for them. You're grateful to your customer, but you got to learn that they're the number one.
Absolutely.
So did you have like a hard moment where you realized that, or is that something you kind of gained over time?
I think it's just something that's kind of become a realization over time, because especially early on, I tend to be pretty perfectionistic.
Yeah.
And so
that's a struggle.
Quality management was kind of my thing, and just doing it better than everybody else. And over time, I've come to realize that while I still value really good, high quality work, the customer really is mostly concerned about having their needs met by the service. And so our ultimate role, our ultimate focus really needs to be meeting them where they're at and giving them the service that they want, and so focusing more on the customer rather than on, the minutia of the task, if you will.
Well, that's how you get repeat business. That's how you get referrals. That's how you build a name and brand that you have, is because you are focused on the customers. People that don't focus on customers don't really make it far. Right. They fail.
Well, and interestingly enough, we've never really advertised. Like, we've got some presence on Facebook, but not in an advertising way. Just more of a, here's what we're working on today. And we get a lot of direct referrals from customers. When they see somebody needing the type of work that maybe we did for them, they're like, hey, talk to these people. And so apart from like some yard signs and signage on our trucks and stuff, like, we've never advertised. It's all been direct word of mouth marketing, and we really need to start advertising. We need to start marketing.
We're in a social media world.
Yeah. It's something that we need to beef up on. And it's kind of one of those deals where I was always like, well, we're busy when things slow down. They never slow down.
Yeah.
They just continue to ramp up. And so, no, it's an area we need to kind of beef up on.
Well, that's how you know you're doing something right, is if you don't have to rely on social media. 'Cause
Right.
some businesses rely heavily on social media.
Oh, for sure.
And
Yeah.
if you have, someone makes a post in a Facebook group, hey, who do you recommend? And then you got multiple people, mentioning you. And then the person's going to be like, oh, obviously they made this many people happy.
Yep.
They must be doing something right.
Yep.
So going into that, what would you say that, besides your lack of social media marketing, sets you apart from other people that might get recommended? What would you say if you went in there and you were trying to win over a client? What would you tell them that you do differently? What sets you apart?
Communication. It
Cool,
would
that's
be
huge.
our bottom line one. And it's unbelievable to me how often I hear horror stories from customers that, man, they've talked to 3, 4, 5, 6 different contractors. You're the only one that calls me back.
Mm-hmm.
You're the only one who gets me a quote on time. You're the you're the only one who
I could
shows
share a
up.
story or two.
I mean, it's just unreal to me.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, just showing up when you say you will, and
On time.
yeah,
Same
on
day.
time. And what really kind of, and you hear this all the time
Mhm.
from customers, but what really kind of drove that home to me, we were at a training with ABC Supply up in Kansas City,
Mhm.
and this is an invitation only training, and you had to RSVP and all that. And we get there, it's supposed to start at 9:00. At 9:00, me and like one other contractor's in there, and there's like 30 people that are RSVP'd on this list. And they're like, well, we'll just wait an extra 15 minutes and see if anybody else shows up. And 1 or 2 other people show up. And I'm like, I wonder if this is what my customers are talking about when they say contractors
Yeah.
never show up on time. And like, nobody cracked us.
Oh my goodness.
I'm like,
I feel so bad for the people that
Kinda
hosted that event.
press a nerve there.
Yeah. Man, it takes us a lot to put that kind of stuff together.
Right.
And then you don't really have anybody show up. I'm sure that's devastating.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But it just goes to show, you're like, wow, these are the people I want to work with.
Right. Absolutely.
So the people that show up, I've had definitely times where, people give a quote or they'll, do something or say something, it doesn't happen, or you never hear back from them again. And I'll tell you, most recently, the business I decided to use was a lawn guy. I was looking for quotes for my neighbor, and he was like, what's the address? And I just gave him the address. I think he's just going to look it up on Google. Messages me like 20 minutes later. I drove by, this is my price, and I can start this time, this day, and this one I'll be there. And I'm like, sold.
Yeah.
And he was there the day and time he told me he would be. I mean, he was quick, he was ready, he was fast, he was communicative, ready to go. So, I mean, that definitely makes a huge difference when you're everything you promise you are.
Yep.
And customers look at that and they're like, wow, I don't have to sit around and wait on hold on my life for you to come do your job.
Yep. Yeah. I tell our people all the time that if we just maintain regular communication with our customers, that'll set us into the top 10% of contractors across the board. Just that one thing.
Any business.
Any business. Absolutely.
I mean, it comes to businesses, relationships,
Yep.
life.
Yeah.
Communication is number one, and I'll always put my foot on that.
Yep.
Absolutely. Jinx, yummy as sodas. Okay. So let's see. What was another one we wanted to talk about? I asked you. My brain goes 10 million miles an hour. I'm I want to ask this question, and by the time we get to that point, I forget about that question. Okay. So something to talk about was a big wow moment. What was, when it comes to, again, either running the family part of the business, whether it is the family or whether it was you taking it on or whatever, what has been a wow moment or a couple of wow moments that you've had?
Yeah. So one of the wow moments that just, I guess, really made me feel good and helped me realize that we kind of transitioned from just being a singular type of contractor, if you will, to a really kind of craftsman level one. So when I finished a log home for a couple from Colorado Springs.
Nice.
And
love Colorado Springs.
yeah, it's a great place. Anyway, it's kind of like their little vacation home.
Cute.
On a family farm they'd inherited here in Missouri.
Oh, nice.
And we got it done, and they walked in, and they're just floored by, I mean, just the warmth of the timber. I mean, and it did come out really well. It was just a neat project. And they're just like, holy cow, like we didn't have any idea it could be like this. And that's when I was like, oh, wow, like we've moved into kind of an artisan contractor stage, and things just kind of changed. And that was kind of that wow moment for me, like, oh, wow, like, we are really providing a lot of value to our customers in a way that they didn't even know could happen. And so that was really fun for me.
Well, yeah. And then when it comes to, especially when you want to focus on the customers as much like what you pointed on, they are your number one.
Absolutely.
And when they come back and they tell you, you see it in their eyes and their face, and then they're like, it's not just a house for people, it is a home.
Right.
And that's where like the real estate part of me comes in. Like a home is truly huge. And so when people love the work and you're like, I just did that.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Like I just created something they're going to live in for 10, 20, 30 more years, if not longer, and pass down to their family.
Right. Yeah. And especially within the log home industry, I mean, you're talking about something that is a very niche product and it's very unique. Like it's not cookie cutter, it's not like somebody slapped it together, framed it over a weekend.
Yeah. Seen some of those.
Natural materials, it just has its own unique beauty and kind of rustic charm that sets it in its own class. And yeah, like you said, that's something that will be passed down for generations. And I mean, just in a general sense, for most people, their homes are one of their largest investments.
Absolutely.
That represents a ton of value for them. And same thing with commercial building owners. Like that property represents a very large capital investment. And so to preserve that, to have work done on that really is concerned with the details of making things right, that really makes a huge difference.
So really you go from a home that someone's going to live their life in and pass down to their children to a business that's very much potentially someone's pride and joy and runs their life, and it means everything to them. And you're here, you're protecting it. The roof really is like what the hat on your head or the roof on a business. It protects what's inside. And so a roof is one of the most important pieces on a property, in my opinion. It protects everything inside. So you are taking care of everybody. Like I said, a home that's being passed on to generations and someone's livelihood or business. So walking into that, now you said that, you started from the fencing and then you gone to this, now you're into the commercial. So where is the next 5-10 years taking you?
I think in the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to really, like right now, most of our people, there's a few that are pretty specialized and stay in their own lane, if you will, as far as like the timber framing elements of it or the roofing side of it. There's some that don't like crossing back and forth between those two. But I think in the next probably 3 years even, we will have very distinct divisions that are dealing with like the residential build type stuff, the log and timber home type stuff, the steep slope roofing, and the roof coatings on the commercial side. I think those will all be much more defined and have their own crews that deal with each one of those things that specialize in that and continue growing that way. Yeah,
and I think that'll be probably nicer for you is, instead of looking over just one group of people who do multiple things, you can also potentially put somebody in charge of each division. And so you can focus on doing things yourself. Because you can trust other people to do their own thing.
And that's been a huge thing even this past year. On the book, we hired a bookkeeper, we hired an office administrator.
Those are helpful.
Oh, absolutely. And, our accountant and
those are good.
Having all of those people take on segments of things that were kind of a pressure point before, kind of a necessary evil, if you will. If I wanted to be an accountant, I'd have gone to school and that would be my business. I don't want to do that stuff. And I'm not very good at that stuff. And so finding the right people that understand our business and what we do and fit with our company culture, that's been huge. And we've found those people. And
that's awesome.
Continue to grow, and it's really, really fun.
So you stay in that family business. So do you have kids, grandkids, anybody that's got to take into it?
I've got 4 children myself.
Nice.
And it's interesting, even within our company, we've got a huge age range. I mean, our youngest crew member, he just graduated from high school.
Wow.
And our oldest
starting them young.
And our oldest one, he's 65 and just told me earlier this week that he wanted to work till 70.
Got 5 years with him.
And I'm like, great. Do you think you can teach like all these other people? But
exactly.
We've got a couple people from every decade.
That's awesome.
So very broad.
And then you can
group.
That's a cycle you can do. Those older people, before they retire, they teach the younger.
Exactly.
How you guys work and getting people fresh out of school is good.
Right. And pass that culture on as well as the craftsmanship and
exactly what your expectations are. Teach them everything.
The values.
Exactly. So share with us. It can be a fun fact about owning a business, a fun fact about roofing, a fun fact about log cabins. Share something fun that maybe people don't know.
Something fun. I mean, to me, the most fun is just having really satisfied customers. Like, it's fun for me. In fact, we had one just a couple of days ago in Peculiar here who was like, we're never going to use anybody else. Like, you communicated with us. We had this other thing done. Like, it took them 6 months just to get to it. She's like, you've communicated every little change along the way. She's like, we'll never use anybody else. Like, that to me is like the stamp of approval. Like, we did it right. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Really met them where they needed.
Yeah, absolutely. So the log cabin thing just kind of intrigues me. Yeah. Because you don't really see many of them.
Right.
And if you do, they're old.
Right.
They're by a lake or something like that. Do you notice more log cabins by lakes?
We actually haven't built one near a lake.
Really?
I just got off the phone right before coming in here with a gal up north near Mound City that has one that's overlooking a lake, but I haven't even gone to look at that one yet. So
man,
it's funny you bring
this
that
might be
up.
your first lake house.
Right, yeah.
That's super fun.
So it is.
Yeah. Okay. So share with people, where can they find you? How do they get in contact with you?
Sure.
Let them know. Where do they get Ben?
The easiest way would be through our website, which is ogfconstruction.com. And at the bottom of the homepage, there's a little form that you can fill out, your contact information, a bid request form, so you can specify what type of work you're wanting on there. And then we'll reach out to you and connect that way. You can also follow us on Facebook. Old Grand Farm Roofing and Construction is where we're at there, and you can see kind of progressive stages of builds through that.
Scroll all the way down to that very first photo.
Exactly. Oh yeah, you'll be scrolling a while.
How long have you guys had Facebook?
So probably a couple of years now. We've really sort of focused on that, and our customers love it. They, in fact, the one I was telling you about up north of Oak Grove, he was showing some of his engineering students an example, and we'd had some weather delays, and so we hadn't been there for a couple of days, and he was showing them some of the progress pictures, and then he realized, wait, I hadn't even seen this one. They're back going again. And it was from that day.
People love Facebook. Facebook's huge.
They do, yeah.
So follow them on Facebook.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. Is there anything else you would like to touch on, you'd like to talk about, let the people know? What?
I guess just thank you. I really appreciate what you're doing. I mean, this is a great idea.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's really cool. I really am impressed with.
I learned something new. People still build log cabins. It's been like a dream of mine, to own a log cabin. I was like, that's probably something from the 40s that don't exist anymore.
They're fun. They are really neat structures.
So does it take longer to build a log cabin?
Yeah, it's a whole different animal.
Yeah. How much longer would you say?
Oh, geez. We could frame a conventional house of the same square footage in probably a week and a half. That will take 4 months.
Oh, wow.
Stacked log.
Wow.
I mean, there's just no comparison. There's so much more labor. You're handling each component individually, and you have to have equipment to do it because it's so heavy. You're setting big chunks of log, like the ridge beams. A lot of times will be like 8 by 16 inches. So you're talking about a chunk of oak that's that big, that's 16 feet long between posts. So you got to set that stuff with a crane.
But it's so pretty.
Yeah.
Oh, log cabins are so pretty.
And it's like a landmark. Like it is. It is there.
You don't see
forever.
them much.
Yeah.
And so like people pass out. I remember exactly where all the log cabins are that I've seen the past few years. I know exactly where they are because you don't really see them.
Right.
But I feel like there was one more question I was going to ask about log cabins. I told you, I can touch on something, and by the time we talk about something else, it's gone out the window.
Another thing that makes log cabins a little bit more tricky that a lot of people don't think about on the front end is that you have to have all of your trades integrated into the whole build process. So with a conventional structure, your framers come in, they whip out the structure, then your plumbers and electricians come in, they do their rough ends. With stacked log, that all has to be done in process.
Oh, really?
So when you get up to the height of your outlets, you've got to either saw cut or use a router to run all your wiring inside the wall before you stack that next log on top of it.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
And so you want to really have your overall build process thought through. Yeah. Because it's hard to retrofit. It's not like just drilling a couple of studs to run over and put a new light switch in. Like talking
That's
about
crazy
whole different
work.
process.
Absolutely. I didn't even think about how that would all be different.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to, is that the same like with bathrooms, kitchens, everything?
Yep,
You got to
yep.
build it as you go.
You've got to know where you want stuff from the beginning and build it as you go.
Man, that's one hell of a process.
It is. It really.
Oh, Lord.
And then to make it even a little bit more tricky, either you have to have those other trades on staff that work with you, your electricians, your plumbers, or you've got to have really well-established relationships so you can be like, hey, I'm going to need you here for 2 hours tomorrow, because as soon as they do their thing, then you have to stack more logs. And then,
and you probably need specific people that know how to work and log.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, that's been an interesting thing. And like I said, we've been really blessed with having great people on board that can do that stuff. But it is unique. That's one of the things that makes it difficult and makes it so you can't do it in just like a production style, like you can with conventional.
It's got to be done right. There is no working around the bush on that one.
Yeah. And then the other thing that a lot of people don't really think about with a log cabin is the roof system is basically 2 independent roof systems. So you've got your big timber rafters, and then you've got a shiplap deck on top of that, which is what you see from inside. That's your ceiling. And then above that, you've got to have all of your floor joists or ceiling joists on top of that deck, which is where all your wiring for all your lights run up on top in your ceiling, your insulation, and then another deck on top of that, and then your roof. So you're safe inside. It's big. Yeah. And they are pretty thermally efficient.
Yeah.
That passive solar gain, they have a lot of thermal mass. So even though the R value may not be super high, I mean, it is comparative. A 6-inch wall is comparative to like an R13 fiberglass insulated wall as far as that goes. But its thermal mass means that it absorbs that solar heat over the course of the day and then slowly releases it. So it gives you a really stable temperature zone to work with. And it takes considerably less heating and air on the mechanical to maintain really great temperatures.
Saves money.
Really stable temperatures. Yep.
Nice.
Yep. That's about the only part of a log cabin that saves money.
Because it ain't the log part.
Because it's not the logs.
All right, man. Well, we really appreciate you sitting down with us. Hopefully our viewers learned something new about log cabins, because I'm like infatuated with them. They're super cool.
They are really fun.
Never really met anybody that works for log cabins.
They are very cool.
I bet. All right. Well, I appreciate it. Send me some pictures of some work that you've done. I'll make sure to post them, because I think people would really like those. Or maybe a video. I can put a video in front of this. But you know where to find them. Facebook, website. He's going to be doing some more marketing. You heard it first. He's going to be out there. You're going to see him. But it was OGF Construction. Old Grand Farms or Old Grand Farm?
Old Grand Farm, yeah.
Old Grand Farm. All right, folks. Well, thank you for tuning in once again today, and we will see you next Sunday for the next small business interview. Bye.